mean, I was, for instance, on the road during one of the key early primaries with a very famous newspaper correspondent who I like very much, so I'm not going to tell you his name. But we're standing outside, he's having a cigarette, and it's like 1 in the morning.
Know he smokes.
Yeah, well, they all smoke on the road. And he says, something about whatever the candidate that we're following was not Barack Obama, and he says, I'm an Obama man. I mean, to be totally honest, I just love Barack Obama. I mean, that's just speaking for myself. And I thought, whoa. It used to be you didn't admit that.
Did.
Like most reporters are liberal Democrats, obviously. But a lot of them try, I think, to, separate their own views from the work that they do, as they should.
I felt
much less effort this time.
I have felt, and I don't read and see everything, that it's been like a seesaw. That I've never felt that it was in the tank one way or another. There were days when I felt that the media were totally in the tank for Hillary, and days when I felt they were not so much.
Well, we were bullied by the Hillary campaign. I was specifically.
MSNBC,
and
one of your
it was
colleagues.
Unbelievable.
What do you make of, looking back on it,
You
what do you
get
make
bullied by
of
a campaign.
MSNBC or NBC suspending one of their employees because of displeasure
Well,
within
with all respect, I vehemently disagree with that decision, and I think it was a poor decision.
And when you look back on it now,
That was on my show, by the way, that happened.
We should tell people what it was.
Oh, it was David Schuster, who is hardly a screaming right-winger.
Right.
And he was talking about Chelsea Clinton and her calling superdelegates on the phone. Mm-hmm. And he used an unfortunate phrase, which he didn't mean in its literal sense. He said, the Clinton campaign is pimping out Chelsea. That's a very unattractive thing to say, and he should have apologized, and he did.
But the way we use
But he didn't
slang,
mean it in a literal sense. And they took him right off the air and
How many times this campaign have people said the next day, I didn't mean what I said in the...
Look, you're doing an hour of live television. We have no delay. You are apt every once in a while to say something that you don't mean.
And the culture of those shows is to be very freewheeling.
That's right. And there ought to be room
in a way.
for some revision.
Yeah.
Maureen Dowd gets to, revise her column before it goes in the paper. I mean, we should have a little bit of leeway, I think.
But it was a very bad precedent, do you think?
It was an awful
precedent. For a network to cave like that?
It was so... I'm not attacking NBC. I mean, you've seen this happen.
You can attack NBC.
A lot of I work at NBC. I've got their health card in my pocket. I'm not. They've been very nice to me.
You have health insurance, but no contract.
I do.
That's okay.
No, and I have a salary as well, and I am grateful, and I have an office, and I'm grateful for all of that. And they've been, again, very nice to me. But I just think, as a general matter, as a philosophical matter of principle, you should never allow yourself to be bullied for political reasons. Everybody's got an agenda, and there are some pressure groups who pay very close attention, and others we blow off and, whatever, extra chromosome set, we ignore them. But
how do you think the general election's going to go down then between the media and McCain and Obama?
It's difficult. I mean, of course, John McCain was a longtime darling of the press. People loved him. I covered him for a year in 99 and 2000. Yeah, we loved him. And he's a very charming guy personally.
And it's that other kind of affection. Obama seems to have this kind of affection from people who are falling in love with what they're seeing. What you were always hearing about from reporters who were covering McCain is, well, I don't agree with him, but I really like him.
That's such a smart point. That is exactly the distinction. People fall in love with the idea of Obama because who knows Obama? Do you know anybody who really knows Obama? I don't.
One or two.
Okay, yeah, we probably do. One or two know. Right, okay, but he's not widely known. McCain, exactly. McCain is appealing at the conversational level. McCain is a poor speaker, in case you haven't noticed, in public.
He was the other night.
He's a brilliant conversationalist. If he was here, you would love him. No matter what you think about his ideas, or his politics, or his background, or anything, you would just like hanging out with him because he's an appealing person.
But how does that play? How does that manifest itself then in the coverage? Do you
well,
think?
It's a lot easier to be partisan in a partisan race, in a primary. In other words, I think a lot of people in the press said, well, look, we're effectively taking sides for Obama against Hillary, but we're all Democrats here.
I don't know that they said that.
I think they were. But we're all, we're choosing one Democrat over another. It's quite another to, in effect, choose one, candidate of one party over a candidate of a different party. We're choosing the Democrats over the Republicans. You can't get away with that. So I think there will be much less overt bias in favor of Obama than there has been. I think they can't keep doing this.
What can McCain do about that? Anything?
He won't whine about it because his base is the press. I mean, he would, you know what I mean? He'd still be a member of Congress from Phoenix if he hadn't suborned the press.
One thing about McCain, because we really haven't given him much attention. McCain really hasn't gotten much of attention, much attention, period, the last few months, and it continues even here today. But Karl Rove was writing, I think, in the Wall Street Journal today, and he said about McCain, he said he has no grassroots groups to match the Democrats outside of the National Rifle Association and Right to Life. Mr. McCain will have to build coalitions of veterans, Catholics, Latinos, small business people, evangelicals, and women in key states to close the enthusiasm gap, because there is no enthusiasm for
I think
him.
even that is overstating it. I think National Rights of Life and the NRA are both suspicious of John McCain, frankly.
So, do you believe?
It's a big problem.
Do you believe that when we vote, we're basically hiring and firing, and that there is a mood in the country to fire the Republicans
Absolutely.
for the last 8 years?
Oh, absolutely.
Can that be overcome?
It can be overcome if people feel sufficiently threatened. That's the truth. I mean, that's just the bottom line.
What would be a threat?
A reminder that there are all these threats from abroad.
But
basically.
you mean the bigger issues that haven't really
That's
been
exactly
getting
right. I mean,
addressed
look,
in this campaign
the critique of Bush from day one by a lot of his opponents and even some of his friends was really clear. This guy doesn't have a lot of experience. He's been governor for 6 years. He had a sliver of a baseball team. He was a business failure. It's like, why should he be president?
Yeah.
Is it even possible to get a president with less experience than Bush? Well, it turns out, yeah, it is. His name is Barack Obama. I mean, in other words, at some point, that's going to be a concern. Like, thoughtful Democrats who worried about the fact Bush had never been anywhere. And that was a legitimate critique, by the way, which I said at the time and believe now. Bush didn't have a lot of experience, and it shows. Why are we about to make president someone with considerably less experience? I mean, shouldn't we at least sort of think about that? No?
What will be the issue in this campaign?
Well, the issues, let me just say point blank, I don't think McCain can win. I think Obama has to lose. There has to be, that campaign must be shaken to its foundation. So there has to be some intervening
So Obama's
scandal.
now in the Hillary position.
I think that's,
Yeah.
it's just, yeah.
He's inevitable.
Well, he
moment.
actually is inevitable.
Okay,
I mean,
that's
all
just-
things being equal, if tomorrow is an extrapolation from today, he will win.
Okay.
But it's not. You know, things intervene.
Right. Well, as the past few months. But what's the issue? Because
the
now
issue
we're
is-
actually going to get into real issues. with
The
Trump.
issue is, it goes without saying, Iraq.
Okay.
And the issue is not, well, it depends how it's framed and
It's the
presented
war.
and consumed. But, right, it's one of two questions about Iraq. Should we have gone in? Which is a settled question in most people's minds. No. And if that's the debate, I mean, Obama takes it going away. If the debate is about what we do next, McCain has a shot. He does have a shot. He does have a shot. He has a shot to win that debate.
But you basically see this race ending up, as many have predicted, even though it's moved here and there and here and there, at the end it'll be about the war.
Oh, I think it will be about the war.
Yeah,
But I say that, and then I look at ratings for shows that we do on the war, and I notice that they are incredibly low. Mm-hmm. They literally the Yule log on Christmas gets higher numbers than an Iraq show, and that tells you that.
Do you think a series of town halls between the two of them would get viewers, as McCain has proposed?
I think it's a brilliant idea.
It is a good idea.
And
why
it's
not
so
do
smart
it?
of McCain to do that.
Well,
I think.
They'll negotiate it. I mean,
Yeah.
he pitched it out there, but it'll get negotiated.
Well, it's
between-
smart because it gets him
But
back
Obama
into
hasn't
the news.
been that far removed from that idea.
No, but
either.
McCain, look, I think it's a big, Democrats are wringing their hands over the effect of this protracted primary on the party. Mm-hmm. It's been good in every way that I can tell. Obama has built sizable and significant organizations in all 50 states plus American Samoa. And he's been in the news. He's like the most famous guy in the world. John McCain, I mean, for instance, Obama went last week to Tampa, Florida. He did an event, 20,000 people in an outdoor arena. McCain's coming this week. It's a room slightly larger than this.
And don't you see?
And that's the product of being in the news.
And don't you see? We'll see that in an even bigger way once it's the general.
Yeah, well, now the more focus will fall on McCain. I don't think he's gotten a free pass. I think being ignored has been bad for him, and I think getting back in the spotlight will be good.